Yeah, black, 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 white, 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 brown, 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 yellow, yellow, yellow. Why not we are counting only one color, unique humanity color?
Yeah,
I'm just
absolutely.
thinking for this. So I want both of you, what is your insight? Because for me, unique color is the best because
Yeah,
we all are human. So
yeah,
we can use unique color, humanity.
yeah.
That's it for me.
I love it. I love it. Raj was very quickly. Raj was telling us the story about he was in a hostel once, and there was this young boy there who was very black, and he was not very well, and people were discriminating against him and so on. And Raj noticed this, and so he went to talk to his sister because Raj was very young, and he didn't have that much money. And he talks to his sister, and his sister gave Raj a whole bunch of money, and so Raj was able to take this young boy to see a doctor, and this young boy was so grateful. And then because Raj so courageously supported this young boy, all the people who were discriminated against the boy started to come forward and be friends with him as well. So this it really is a delightful story about humanity. It doesn't matter what color we are or what religion we are or what beliefs we have. So um I really want to move the conversation, Juliet. We've spent a lot of time talking about your role with children, and but how about the corporate world? We've got a lot of negativity in corporate, and we know corporate and government many times they're not safe spaces for people to be in, no matter what color they are, and that positive workspaces are unusual today. For some reason,
Absolutely. Yeah.
workplaces are deteriorating. So tell us about positivity and how it plays a role in leadership, and give us some ideas here.
Mm. Okay, thanks, Baxter. And just to if I could add to that kind of story that you shared about Raj, I think what Raj was doing there, he was demonstrating, because sometimes as leaders, it's about, kind of taking the courage and leading the way. And,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
before you know it, people are going to follow you.
yeah.
And one of my greatest mentors told me, Juliet, exactly, because I went into a leadership role and there was a bit of resistance. There was a bit of resistance. Who is she? We know human behavior, we understand it. New person is going to come, we've got to form relationships. I know what it's about. People are not going to be happy. I'm going to tell them to do something, they're not going to like it. But my mentor said, Juliet, you lead the way, and they'll follow you, they'll come with you. And that's
Ah,
and literally that was the best way. You've got to be an exemplar, but you have to be such you've got to have really good work ethic, um, be exemplar, communicate well, sort of treat people with respect, be very, very clear about the outcomes, and work professionally. And then
mm,
within 6 months, you'll just have them. And that's exactly what happened. And this was a role in sort of education management, a role that I'd never done before, a role where I had to understand about government funding, a role also where the curriculum was new. Can you believe it? I was doing digital skills, um, which is a new curriculum, and understanding about the awarding bodies. They knew more about me, and I respect that. And as a leader, you've got to be in a position where you know everyone's strengths, respect it, respect them, give them all the praise, and lead them along, lead them, and and then they'll come alongside with you. But you're absolutely right. I think there was a Forbes, I think on LinkedIn a few months ago, there was a Forbes kind of review about, how many middle managers are actually walking out of their role. It made me think that the leaders or
oh,
the managers are really walking out of jobs, maybe even more than the officers. And that's a really, really difficult place. It's a balance between sort of managing the resources, taking care of your staff and looking after them, and sort of also managing kind of higher demands from senior leadership. So it's really, really hard. But the way I look at it is that we are all there to do a business. And I think we are all there to get good outcomes, good results. And if you slowly begin to remove the personality types or really understand I think understanding people's personality types is really key. For example, knowing that you're working with someone who's of red character, or who's very kind of analytical, or who likes detail, or more or creative. I think when you know that and respect that and know how to work with them, I think you'll have more understanding in the workplace, because
Mm,
we're not all the same type. We're not all robots. We'll have different preferences. We'll have different styles of working. So for me, I think what is key is really understanding each one of us, what's our strengths and what is our working styles, and respecting that and valuing the difference. Because
right.
others might be, for me, someone who's very detail orientated. I am not. I am a creative. I am going to go in the room and say, yes, this. And someone might not like me coming saying, yes, this. They might say, what about the detail, Juliet? So I think kind of recognizing that and knowing these are our styles, the way we work, but that we really want to work towards a positively framed sort of goal, an outcome. We want to be proud of the efforts that we put into work. I mean, most people spend more than 40 hours a week at work. That's a huge percentage.
Mm,
So we want to make that we might want to make that really good. And there's all that kind of checklist type things, but I am more about a people person, really about understanding people, speaking respectfully to people, noticing everything nice thing that people have done, being really good in emails. If there's an opportunity to shout about something, I'll say, oh, one of my staff did that, do you mind telling them about this? I am all about that, kind of
mm,
praising, lifting the people that I work with. And I work with tutors who are educating people that have, that have specific goals, people that are struggling. I need to build them up. So I do that in a way by praising them, by shouting about their practice, but also working in a very respectful way. Um, Understanding their needs. For example, I am sort of supporting someone who's dyslexia. So I know that because before I came into the organization, she was really, really stressed a lot. But once we sat down, once we did a kind of workplace kind of assessment, once we got her the right software mind map for her to create lesson plans, for her to organize her objectives, she became a more settled. She's a brilliant teacher, but it was a software that was letting her down.
oh,
She wanted to do things really right. She wanted the right answers, but people perceived that as her not following protocol because she wanted the answer right away, and people perceived her to be really difficult. But once we knew that that is, and she told me something, quite recently. She said, I've never been happier, which kind of really touched me.
ah,
But it's that communication, understanding people's needs, and where they're coming from. We don't do that enough because maybe
no.
in the corporate, there are high stakes, there's money, there's funding, there are deadlines. So I think we are working in a we're not considering the kind of spectrum, the kind of context. We are sort of looking at results really and not really kind of working in a more holistic, more thoughtful way, and thinking about who's actually delivering the results. And it can be achievable. It can be achievable, but sadly, there's a lot of burnouts, and when you're on LinkedIn, you read about burnout all the time. But we can definitely create safe spaces. We can definitely create inclusive spaces where the language is also inclusive.
Mm,
We can definitely create spaces where there's a sense of fun, where you can approach the CEO, you can have lunch with him, you can meet him and not say, oh, there's a CEO, dash, run away. No, because we are people first. So I think Raj talked about humanity. You also touched on humanity. I think we can create these spaces by kind of really focusing and spelling out what humanity means. So for some, it might be, you know, these are our values. It might be changing our values. The values might not be KPIs. Don't think about KPIs, but what are the people values that we want? And for some, it might be respect. So irrespective of whether you're the principal, um, a child in the school, the person sweeping, the caretaker, in the school will respect each other. So I want us to move towards more of those kind values in the corporate spaces, listening values, love each other, and maybe there will be a shift.
yes. Wow. That's very profound. I pray that people hear your message because it's an important one. And Raj, I know you work extensively in corporate. I mean, you're an executive search guy. And what would you like to see happen in corporates in terms of the issues that we've got there? People fighting with a dirty hook in corporates, because it's all about power and money and stakeholder shares and so on and so forth. Raj, what would you like to say about what corporate could do to become more evolved, more enlightened, more fair, more loving, more kind?
For my point of view, I have learned, and I'm digging more deep. What I learned, every corporate house start and do strict mandate rule. Every 3 months, you go for 1 month leave. Every
Oh,
person. So,
wow.
so
Wow.
what will happen? No one keep and stick with power and money, because then they realize after 3 months, oh my god, oh my gosh, this is the another life, my friends, beautiful nature, and another world. But I have seen in here, when you sitting in office 12 hour, always thinking about chair, table, power, employee, how to sit, how to suppress, how to insult, how to feel and save her and him
Yeah.
own ego. So I think the mandatory things there, you send for 1 month leave every quarterly. So then you realize
Wow.
this chair is nothing. The
I
another
love
life
it.
is so beautiful. And but I think this is not
It's a
possible,
great
but
idea.
it will be very important for humanity, human, and good health. And second
Yeah.
point I have seen in the corporate world, for example, if I join your company, initially I I'm showing, oh, I'm very simple, I'm very like whatever you want. After 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then I realize all the things about company, weak point, good point, bad point, each. Then I started show my actual color. This is the problem. Then I started gang bang, like
Mm.
100 company, for example, in my company, 100 people there. So I started creating a gang group. Then I created a 10 people group. Then these 10 people group created a divide, exploit, suppress, insult, vandalism, I'm from this continent, he's from this continent, he's from this color, that color. These things started automatically. Then they started, like for example, I feel afraid, so I join this group. Oh my god, so I will save. Then other people thought I will join that group. So this is the very bad culture in the corporate world,
Oh, yeah.
going in a very fast way. This is
Yeah.
really very harmful. And so people are not realizing why I'm here. Am I here for job, or am I here for politics, or am I here for bullying? So some good
Yeah.
people who are good by heart, they resign. They
Yeah.
thought, no, I'm not here for this, not the right. But these kind of bad people, 10 year, 15 year, 20 year, 30 year, sitting in that same position, and they exploiting. And the
Yep.
good people
They do.
always come for 6 months, 1 year, they run away. The
They
bad
leave. Yep.
people involving these way. So this
Yep.
is the problem in
Exactly.
corporate world. It's not
Yeah.
easy to change.
No. Wow. Well, Juliet, I tell you, it has been an extreme honor for Raj and I to have you here on our podcast and discuss these sensitive issues. Wow. Thank you for everything that you do, for the love and kindness you exhibit and that you teach to children and corporates. And I know you're making a very positive impact in the world. So thank you. And if Raj and I can support you in any other way, do let us know. Thank you so much for
Oh,
being here.
no, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, loved the conversations, and honestly, I think these are the type of conversations we need to be having more of,
Yeah.
in terms of mindful leadership. Um, so thank you so much for this space. This in itself is, me kind of spreading myself that little bit more. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll have to have you back. We love discussing it with you. Thank you. God bless you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.